the final few days of the hours of the session. What the heck? It's been a wild time to get to this point, and a lot of people still don't know what this point is. By the time you're seeing this, you will have some idea, but not fully, that's for sure. We are pleased to have Representative Livvy Floren of Greenwich and Stamford as our guest on this edition. And Livvy, you are known as one of the saner heads involved in these things, and yet it still's got to be frustrating to see all these ideas flying around and not know where they land until the last minute.
Well, until the very last minute. And you know, they say it's always darkest before pitch black. That's where we are right now, and I'm in the dark like everybody else.
Well, all right, when this comes out,
Yeah.
how large is this budget in terms of paper that you have to wade through to come up with what it really means?
Oh golly, it's over 100 pages. Yeah, and the bond bill is 92 pages, so I've got to wade twice.
So you've got to dig through all of that, sift out what they're trying to do, what it really is going to mean going forward.
And it's a moving target. I just came from the Finance Committee meeting where we were going to accept the consensus revenue estimates. Some were up, some were down. We learned that our top net worth wage earners or investors have left, so we're down almost 30% in income tax. That's scary.
30%. Well, and of course, southwestern Connecticut is where most of that comes from.
Yeah.
So that impacts not just the state as a whole, but clearly the municipalities as well very directly.
It does. It does. And a lot of the decisions that we're making are being retroactive. And as you know, because you're so active in your community, the cities and towns have already adopted their budgets. They've counted on that money, and now it's gone.
You just don't know how gone it is at this point.
No.
But so people at home who watch this, they say, how can that work that way? How does it possibly happen that it comes to this in the last few hours? And people don't even know what it is that they're supposed to be.
Well, it's the
on.
volatility, and they always blame it on the stock market, but I don't think it's that. I think that we've overestimated some of our revenues. We never cut down on our spending. So of course there's going to be a clash at some point. It's just how far over the cliff you're going to go.
You are one of those who is greatly respected for your ability to go across party lines, go across aisles to come up with consensus and so forth. And yet the complaint from your colleagues on the Republican side is that we really didn't have the input on this last bill that you would like to for the budget.
Well, I think that is true, although I must give the governor very high marks. He said from day one we were all coming to the table. So the deficit mitigation, the last one, was a bipartisan, bicameral group discussion, and he has insisted upon it being this time. But some of the parties just got their hackles up and left. But now they're all together talking. So that's good.
That is good. But there are others who are projecting, okay, you're going to have this budget, but then in 4 or 5 months,
they're coming back again.
Going to come back into this.
Oh, yeah.
And that will be just in advance of the election.
Exactly right.
Or maybe it could be dragged out past
the election. That would be my guess, frankly. Because it's such a steep hill to try to climb.
Yeah. So what do your constituents say about this?
They think we're crazy, and that's putting it mildly. And yet no one wants a cut. Everyone's got their hand out, and they don't want to make these structural changes, and we're going to have to. And I think the governor realizes that. We certainly have as Republicans, and I think now all concerned are.
Well, they've been, a lot of this involves cutting departments and things like that, which in many instances will call on the not-for-profit area outside of government
to pick up
the pieces.
Yeah.
But then again, they're probably not going to be getting financial aid from the government to do that. So they're throwing up their hands and saying, how do we do this?
Plus, philanthropy is drying up. Sure. We're seeing that, people aren't making money, they're losing their jobs. They don't have any extra dollars to give to nonprofits. So it's just horrible. And I think what's going to happen, we're going to have to redo our pensions, we're going to have to redo our health payments. It's all these fixed costs that are going to have to be restructured.
And hopefully at some point we're going to see some increase in revenues to assist us along the way
I don't know,
going forward.
David. We've had 3 of the most major tax increases in the last, 3 years?
Yeah.
And it's just insatiable. We just can't seem to keep up with the needs.
Well, so much for the,
Well,
the
Merry
good news
Christmas.
today. Hey, thank you so much for being with us.
Thank
Livvy.
you.
It
You're
is
always so
great to see you.
faithful to come
Well,
all the way up here
hey,
and
listen,
do this.
You know what? We try to get the information out to the folks at home who don't necessarily get the information as easily as.
Or who don't want to stay up until 5 in the morning
that-
watching it. I
that
mean,
could be
there are
true.
not that many insomniacs in the state, I don't think.
Except for you all working here.
Yeah.
Representative Livvy Floren, our guest on this edition. And for Leaders, I'm David Smith.
Thank you, my darling.
Oh, boy.